So we're moving on to the interior tub. As stated in an earlier video, I was very unthrilled with the interior. Basically, not that the interior itself is bad. I was disappointed at the color. It appears that the 65 GTO in the dark midnight blue came with the black. That's what they had in the show. It's a black interior. I know when Chris did this model, he was working from black and whites. The video that I have is in color, and you can clearly see it's the colors, and it is black. So what I did is I took the interior parts and I spray painted them all flat black. The dash, the seats, and everything got done in flat black. It's very, very interesting, right? Then what I did after that is, after it dried, I touched the seats up with Future, and now you can see specifically here, you can see how there's a difference between, say, the package tray in the back of the seat, and then the floor, and even the panels here were done in Future. But you can see the difference in tone, and the idea about that, it creates a little bit more interest in the kit. Not everything is all one color, and of course it represents the fact that black metal, black vinyl, black plastic do not look all the same. They're not uniform, so that'll add, like I said, some contrast and points of interest. I did paint the floor black also, but the plan is to flock it. I always do the painting first, just in case it doesn't cover the flocking, has some bare spots or anything. You won't see the white plastic through. Plus, it'll cover up the injector marks. You can see there's one here, right there, and there's another one on this side there. There it is. So this is going to get flocked. I had painted the window cranks, but I'm going to see what happens when I throw the photo etch ones on top of it, if it makes it look a little bit more 3D and everything. That should help. And then the other thing, where'd it go? Oh, hang on one second, is this is a console for the kit itself, but now if I add this, I think that, let's see if we get you in there, the photo etch piece, focus. I have to paint it, but that makes it look, I don't want to tilt it too much, it's going to fall out of place, but that makes it look a lot better. There you go. You can see the detail there. So that's going to go in place. Much better. More gooder. Especially since this is a convertible, and you know, you don't get that, you're not looking through a window trying to see how the detail looks. It's going to be wide open, so you're going to see that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping that that works better. Again, from images from the show, I spotted the car, the dashboard. There was nothing special to it. It was pretty much all black. I just did some dry brushing on the dials and stuff like that, the knobs, the GTO logo over the glove box, and then futured the top dash cover, because that was vinyl, and then the rest, of course, is metal and plastic, so it's going to be a little different. The steering wheel I didn't get to yet, but the steering column is going to be black, and the steering wheel itself, though, is going to be a blue. I have to work on a color, but if, again, looking at the videos and the pictures, the steering wheel was blue despite being a black interior, so that's kind of neat. Again, contrast, points of interest, stuff like that. So that's where we are with that. So we'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to look at flocking our interior. I think I've done this in past videos, but you know, there's a lot of new people here, and I figure I'll show it to you guys. You know, those who haven't seen it, it'll be something new. If you've seen it before, just fast forward. It's okay. I'm used to it. So here's what we need. If you're not used to this, you haven't done this before, here's what you need. You need your interior tub, and like I said before, I pre-paint mine the color of the interior that I want the carpet to be. This way, if there's any bald spots or anything like that, or as it wears out, it won't be as noticeable because you have the color, the same color underneath. Next thing you need, I use this. It's a strainer. Okay, I picked this up, I think I picked this up at a dollar store, or it was just at a place that sells kitchen furnishings and stuff like that. I think it was 2 in a box, actually, in a container. I got them really cheap. But this is what I use, and I'll explain that in a little bit. You need a brush. I got myself a nice brush. And you can use glue. In this case, I'm using the Scenic Cement. It's pre-watered down. It's ready to go with a little shake. And if you don't have Scenic Cement, I can't emphasize this enough. I bought this when I was just starting, thought I needed it. Turns out don't really have to have it. You can use straight up Elmer's glue. All you do is take your glue, put it in a container, water it down a little bit, and you got the same stuff. It works just as well. Elmer's glue you can get at the dollar store for $1, or even, you know, or other places for a very affordable price, whereas opposed to this was I don't know, just under $10. I know it's a lot, but still, you don't have to have it, especially if you don't have a store in your area that sells this kind of stuff. You'd be like, oh, I can't do it. I want that stuff. No, Elmer's glue works just as well. Okay, so, and this crap lasts forever too. I mean, I've had this for quite a long time now. So, for me, what I do is I take my glue and just pour a little bit into a container. You don't need a lot. Even that is probably just too much, but it is what it is. Okay. Oh, the other piece that we're missing is you need your flocking material. I happen to use this Ken's Custom Fuzzy Fur. There's all kinds of different stuff. This is what my hobby shop always had, so I always grab this, is what I used to, and we'll get to this again in a minute too. So we pour our glue into our cup, and then all I do is go inside the interior tub here, and anywhere I want fuzz and fur, I put glue. Okay, and I usually do one side at a time, and I try to be very careful in the back. I don't want to go up because the seats come down to the floor. They're not supposed to be fur, but what is supposed to be fur is the hump. Okay, so I always try to get the hump done. Okay, go up the edges too, the front, because usually the carpet goes up. I'm just going to do that for now. Any extra? Okay, so that's good enough for now. Then, what I do, I need some towels here. Put this down. What I do is I take my fur, I pour some out. Okay, this stuff is chunky and uniform right now. Okay, and now what I'll do is I'll just take my finger and I'll just force it through, straining it, making it a more uniform material, and I'll just fill up the interior. Okay, and the reason I do the paper towel is because when I'm done, anything that's overshot it and gone into the paper towel, I can always collect and do reuse it, because, you know, everything costs a little bit of money. Save where you can. So now that it's in here, okay, I'll shake, let it get it throughout as much as it can, right? And then what you can do, excess is dropped out, and then there's your interior. Let me see. Sorry, guys. Okay. And then what you can do, tap it down, make it look better, more gooder. Do the hump. Okay. And then let it dry. Now, some people will ask, and I even said this to somebody else I think recently, is, let me get something to point with. I did the entire thing, but this area right here, you're going to have the seat, so you don't really want to glue the seat to the carpet because it's not going to stick. But I just did it that way for right now. What I can do is when it's dry, I can always take the seat, put it in, figure out its location, scrape off the fur from that place. This way you have a nice mating surface of glue to glue. I mean, styrene to styrene with the glue. Alright, so that's what you do. Pretty simple. So I'm going to let that dry and then I'll do the other side. Be right back. Alright guys, welcome back, and we're looking at our interior for the Captain Nelson GTO from the TV show I Dream of Jeannie. So last we left, we flocked the interior, let it dry really well. I scraped off the areas where the seats are going to be, inserted the seats and glued them. The neat thing is this kit came with seat belts and seat belt retractors. Not your typical seat belts that rest on the seats. They were, you know, one was a receiver on this end, and then you got the buckle piece over here, so you could see them side by side. Now normally I really wouldn't care too much about that because, well, usually it's got a roof, it's hard to see, it's not really visible, big deal. But for this car, because it's a convertible, open top, it would be great points of interest to be able to have that. But when I was working with them, I found the receiving piece, the buckle actually, seemed so thick and clunky. It was just ugly and didn't work well, so I ended up pulling that out. So that's just, you know, the way it is. And no, I didn't do anything to replace it. But the seats are in place, as you can see. We also put in our console PE. Okay, this was painted black. I painted it black, let it dry for a little bit, and then just wiped off the top of it, and it gave it the black filled the grooves and left the top piece natural. I like the look of it, so that's what I did. And then the shifter knob here, I tossed away the kit piece because it was a piece of caca, and then I took a push pin, cut it to size, put it in there. Voila, we got ourselves a nice little shifter. And then, now it's hard to see here, doesn't look like much, but the pedals are photo etch. Okay, so that's a nice touch. I ended up not doing the door handles. I just left them in stock, painted them, and they were good enough for this. I'm okay with that. Just a little dusty, but she's looking pretty good, as you can see. Also, there are different tones in here because I highlighted. It was all painted flat black, and then using Future floor polish, I painted the seats and everything, gave them a little bit of a gloss, so it looks like the pleather that came with the car back in the 60s, and she's looking pretty good. Next for this is the dash. The dash has been finished, the steering wheel has been finished, you saw that earlier. And this is going to go in here. Just the reason it wasn't in yet is because I had to do some changes, on the steering wheel. You remember I said that the steering wheel in Tony's car was blue rather than black to match the rest of the interior, and from the earlier videos you saw I painted it with a metallic blue. The blue was just too blue for me, didn't like it. Took and removed it, and then I put in a different blue again. This was a lighter, paler blue, but when it was on the car it looked kind of gray, so again took that off, and I found the color we were searching for earlier, and that is the Pontiac metallic blue for the engine that I had first used. This gives it a nice lighter metallic looking color, and that's what I did. I painted it with that, and I think it looks a lot better. Looking good, looking good. So we're going to glue this in place, and then at that point I think the interior will be ready to go into the body. But before we do that, we have to do some additional work to the body. But that's where we are. We're coming along. We're getting there. So till next time, guys, be strong.